number of areas available for relaxing and entertaining, including a formal dining room, a massive eat-in kitchen with breakfast nook and walk-in pantry, a laundry room, a mud room, a gathering space, and a library. My personal suite was also on the ground floor, just beyond the kitchen, and equipped with a master bedroom and bath, plus a sitting area with a couch, television, and Christmas tree. The bag of teddy bears shifted on its perch, and I dashed to the rescue, narrowly avoiding it turning into an avalanche. My new role as innkeeper required me to wear many hats, and gift wrapping a million toys wasn't technically one of them, which was why I'd convinced my friends to join me for a wrapping party after dinner. This outpouring is bananas, I marveled. Incredibly generous, but definitely nuts.
Did someone say nuts?
Cookie asked, pulling my attention back to her.
Merry Christmas, Holly.
She held out a rectangular box wrapped in cheery red paper and topped with a pristine white bow. I set the bag of bears on the floor and accepted her gift. Thank you, you shouldn't have.
You haven't seen what it is yet, she argued.
Maybe I should have.
I laughed. True. I pumped it up and down a few times, listening for sounds inside. It's heavy.
Yep.
Cookie rocked back on her orthopedic boots, practically vibrating with urgency.
You're going to love it. Open it.
A flutter of voices rose above the soft holiday music in the foyer, and the grandfather clock began to chime. In-guests were making their way down from their rooms, rested after a late afternoon break, and ready for another delectable meal. Dinner time. I nodded to the bustling mini crowd, and Cookie huffed, clearly put out by the interruption. Twice a day, in-guests made their way to the hearth, reindeer games, adorable candy-themed cafe, and hot chocolate shop. They were on their own for lunches, but I kept a buffet of snacks on hand in the kitchen, in case someone preferred not to go out. But no one ever stayed behind when the hearth was an option. My mom was the cook, chef, and baker, and anything forged in her kitchen was not to be missed. Couples donned coats, hats, and gloves for the trek across the snowy property, chatting merrily in anticipation. My dad did his best to manage the snow on our roads and walkways, but during December in Maine, there weren't always enough shovels for the job.
Open it,
Cookie demanded, small hands wringing.
If you love nuts, you're going to love this.
Sorry. I tugged the satin bow and slid a finger beneath the transparent tape on top. I don't have your gift yet, I told her. I haven't had time to shop.
Open it,
she repeated, giddy and refusing to be distracted. Cookie's trademark enthusiasm was contagious and part of her charm. It was one of the many reasons I'd been so drawn to her as a child, and why I adored her so completely today. I peeled the paper off a green cardboard box embossed with an unfamiliar logo. I set the box on my desk and lifted the lid. Inside, a metal nutcracker stared up at me, the overhead light gleaming off his shiny body and sword. Cookie clapped her hands, then shoved them both into the pockets of her silver cardigan.
He really works. Watch.
She opened her fingers, revealing a variety of shelled nuts. I held out my palms in acceptance while she righted the nutcracker and tossed the box aside. I stuffed a walnut in his mouth, then Cookie used a lever on his back to crush the shell in one easy move. Nice.
Yep,
she said, gathering the broken pieces and tossing them into the trash bin under my desk. She worked the nut free from the shell with nimble fingers and popped it between her lips before pitching the shell.
You love it, right? I thought you could keep it in your office for festive snacking. Maybe put him out with the finger foods for your guests once in a while.
He's perfect, I told her, pulling her into my arms. At 5'8", I easily towered over her, and I rested my chin on top of her puffy white hair.
Told ya,
she said, and I squeezed a little tighter. Behind Cookie, a middle-aged woman named Meg Mason glared across the foyer. She had a teddy bear tucked under one arm and seemed a little miffed. I released Cookie and went to see if I could help. I waved as I approached, putting on my most inviting smile. She turned with a start, and I realized she'd been staring at me.